Jim, thanks for
Yes.
joining me.
Thanks for having me. I
Yeah, of
appreciate
course.
it.
We're,
we get to meet live finally, Greg. Yes, it's great.
We've talked in the past, but we're here at the parts-based PBEXPO. And maybe you could just start with a little bit of an introduction to yourself and tell us about ProvenAir, what you guys do.
Sure, great. Well, appreciate you having me on.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
It's really nice to see people live and shake hands instead of
sure.
Zoom calls. So I'm loving this event, and thanks the PB Expo and Partspace for having us. So my name, Jim Boccarossa. I'm the founder and CEO of ProvenAir Technologies, and ProvenAir is a system that analyzes and it dynamically generates back-to-birth trace history for life-limited parts.
Okay.
So that's a fancy way to say we're going to help ease your pain of going through all of that paperwork and proving out the provenance of your LLPs.
Okay.
So that's really what it is.
So what's like the if somebody's not using your platform, what are some of the typical like processes and things that they're maybe getting headaches from? What are the problems with, I guess, the existing things that are in place here?
So what's currently happening in the industry, and maybe I'll give you a little background on how this concept of back-to-birth trace even came about, because a lot of folks in the aviation industry remember or tell me stories like, Jim, I've been in this industry 20 years. It used to be, I need this one piece of paper from the operator, and that's trace.
Right.
Okay, but what has happened over the years as the supply chain has grown, the aviation industry has grown, and the industry has started leveraging a lot of used serviceable material. And the lessors have a bigger share of aircraft ownership. They've started requiring this concept of back-to-birth trace.
Okay.
Now, it's not technically a regulatory requirement. However, for your life-limited material now, almost any commercial transaction requires it for your engines, your landing gear, your APUs and such.
Right.
Well, because it has become mainly a commercial transaction and a commercial requirement, there hasn't been a very well-defined definition of what we're even talking about here. So you and I both kind of have the concept of back-to-birth trace, but when it comes down to the actual implementation of it, you may say, well, I need XYZ, and I say, no, you don't. This company didn't. Well, and it becomes very difficult, and we're not even speaking the same language.
Right.
So there's a little background on what's happening. So to go into your question of how are people doing this now without using our platform, they're doing it by hand. Mm-hmm. They are doing it manually. And when I say manually, oftentimes they are physically printing pieces of paper and getting a pot of coffee and going into a conference room for a week and trying to match up all the parts and make sure all the cycles match up. And it is mind-numbing.
Right.
And it is prone to human error because you will get a 15-year-old landing gear will contain hundreds, if not thousands, of pages of paperwork.
Right.
In no given format. Every airline does it different. Like every MRO has different documents.
Right.
And you have to somehow go through it.
Bits and pieces of it have been shipped off to different MROs, shipped back, installed. There's spare parts that get installed, temporary parts that get installed. There's so much that goes into it. And so to do that all with paper files is just, it's probably near impossible in reality.
It is impossible. In fact, I have a statistic. I'll see how good you are at trivia here.
Probably not good.
Oh, I bet you'll get this answer. We've got around 3,500 sets of landing gear now in the ProvenAir system.
Okay.
When they were first ingested, I'll let you have one guess how many of them had perfect back-to-birth trace.
Zero.
I knew I knew this guy knew.
Okay, that was easier than I thought.
So we are 3,500 and 0.
Okay.
And my joke is Mayweather doesn't even have that good of a record, right? So the point here of that example is that it is impossible for humans to find every exception in the paperwork because the software finds typos, missing documents, those sort of things, where a human, after a week of looking through documentation, is going to miss something. And that imposes a huge safety risk in this industry. Now, if it's just a typo in the serial number, hey, my serial number is 1234, and now it says 1324.
Right.
Probably not a huge problem, and everyone can understand. However, if the cycle count on your conical support on your CFM56 engine, you had typed in 23,000 cycles, hypothetical,
Sure.
and it really had 32.
Huge difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It becomes a material difference and a
Right.
huge safety issue.
Yeah.
So
and I would
you'll
imagine
never find it.
from like a buyer perspective too, or a seller perspective, you find these types of inconsistencies, it starts raising a lot of red flags about, okay, well, what really happened here? What is the true, cycle count on a part like
That's
this?
right. And you lose a lot of confidence if you're the buyer. You lose a lot of confidence in your supplier.
Right.
If you're constantly finding those things. And what it's also doing is it's slowing down any sort of transaction that we are going to do together.
Right.
The whole point of PartsBase, right, why we're here, is to help optimize the trading and transaction of parts. But as part of that, it's first finding the part, second negotiating a price, and the third is send me the paperwork.
Right.
And if at that stage I'm talking about a $2 million engine and I need to go through all the LLPs and I start finding these inconsistencies, it really slows down our transaction. So to have a digitized history of those parts that calls them out immediately so that now you can work with your supplier or work with your customer to remediate those is a huge advantage, a huge time saver.
Sure. So now from like kind of a two-part question. One is if I have, let's say, an engine or a landing gear assembly, and I want to get started on your platform, what does that process look like? And then after I'm kind of onboarded with this platform, what does the ongoing process look like as a customer?
So I have been running startups for now 17 years.
Okay.
And so this question of how to get started is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
We make it simple.
Okay.
Right? Because we need the adoption of technology in this industry.
Yeah.
So we need to make it simple. People are running businesses. So if it's a complicated integration or never going to adopt it. So our process is simple. Send me the paperwork.
You handle the rest.
That's it. We offer a white glove service. You got it in Dropbox or some SharePoint system or whatever.
Right.
Give us a link, we'll take it. You also could have a login to your own, and ProvenAir is completely cloud-based and tenant-based as well. So each customer has their own tenant, meaning there's no sharing of paperwork or anything. You log in, and you literally can click File, Upload.
Okay.
And you're done. That's how easy it is to get started.
Okay.
So once you've loaded your paperwork for the material you need and analysis done, the ongoing is at any time, 24/7, you have unlimited access to run the report on demand, mind you. Remember, ProvenAir dynamically builds these timelines because what happens is ongoing, the first time, remember, 3,500 and 0, right? Well, that means you're going to have to go say, I got to get that paperwork corrected. From the last supplier or the operator or whatever it is, or I'm missing this document, okay? So now once you get that, you're going to update. You're going to load one more page. ProvenAir supersedes the old one. And so now you run your report again, it's dynamically generated. You'll see exceptions go away or open items list go down, whatever you want to call it. And so you have unlimited number of times you can do that.
Gotcha. And so from like, let's say they sell that assembly. Is there a way to kind of transfer that assembly inside of the system to a new owner?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I almost feel like you could sell this, Greg, for me.
Maybe,
you could. Maybe we
I
need a new
could.
VP of sales. Okay.
Not the first time I've been asked.
That's good. That's good. So if both the buyer and the seller are ProvenAir customers, yes, we have a feature that will allow them to transfer all of that information into the other party's tenant.
Gotcha. And I would imagine that there's some way, if let's say the buyer wasn't on your platform, that they would be able to do an export and get those documents.
Once again, you can sell this.
Get the benefit of it ongoing, right?
You sure you don't work here? Because you're saying yes. So you could. So there's a couple of things with the ProvenAir system that you could do.
Okay.
So if I'm a supplier and you're an operator, you're a customer and looking at this material, I can do what I call grant you guest access.
Okay.
So let's say you're looking at, we use the conical support. So let's say you're looking at that LLP.
Right.
I can give you, Greg, access to just that part number in my system. And I give you it's called grant guest access. You log in, you can see just that part. You don't see my other parts. And you can look at the timelines, run reports, export it into a spreadsheet, run an LLP sheet, run a movement traceability sheet on just that part. And so that's our guest access feature where you can log in, see it, and export the things.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool to see how this is coming along and the problem that you're solving.
Yeah.
I had recently seen some news with a partnership with GE. Mm-hmm. What's that all about?
So, that's really big news for us. GE has been looking at our system because they're getting a lot of feedback from their customer base. They have a complete records management system that originally is called AirVault.
Yeah.
They're rebranding it now to their ATS system.
Okay.
With a lot of features and functionality in there. And one of the biggest issues that their customers were giving them feedback on was, okay, great, I have my records in here. I need to know if it has back-to-birth trace. And so instead of reinventing the wheel or trying to go build the algorithm that we've already created, we've partnered. And so we signed that and made the public announcement a few months ago. In January, we had a big global sales kickoff with the GE team.
Awesome.
And now GE is promoting the ProvenAir system to their global client base. And so any current GE customer can purchase ProvenAir directly through GE. There's no vendor approval required. It's a GE contract. It'll be like a one-page addendum. And if you're an ATS customer of GE's, inside of their module, you click the drop-down. There's a request back-to-birth trace from ProvenAir. The part number and serial number that you need analyzed is provided. The documents will be extracted from ATS, run through our algorithm, and you'll see the results inside of the ATS product.
Very cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's tough now. I have 40 new salespeople out selling it, but it's a great problem to have. And they've been a great partner of ours. So.
Very cool. Awesome. How's the show going so far for you?
First time, but it's been great. And I also want to say thank you to the Florida Aviation Network.
Okay.
They let a Chicago guy into their networking event on Wednesday night, so I loved it. It was great just to see people in person, shake hands. So that was great as well. And the folks here at PBEXPO have been wonderful, very well run.
For sure.
Everyone from the crew to the organization. Rebecca's great. Greg's he's been
they're doing awesome things from their products, what they're doing for the industry, the integrations. It's really cool stuff.
Yep, a lot of exciting things I think you'll see with Parts Bates and ProvenAir too, hopefully in the future as well.
Well, very cool. Thanks for stopping by. It was great talking with you. Great meeting you in person.
It's in person, yes.
And we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right.
Greg. Appreciate it. Alrighty.